I remember I worked in the very big agency at the time, contracting and consulting with them, and they were super excited about metaverse. I think the head of agency had this vision that their business is going to be in the metaverse. They were gonna buy land and have some brands there. I remember there was like concerts being performed in metaverse. Some huge brands were like bringing their shops in there. It was absolute madness at the time. But I think in the end, the total loss, I think for Meta was around 60 billion since 2020 on metaverse, and I think it's now completely sort of forgotten story, and probably Meta doesn't even want to talk about it anymore. But I remember it was a huge thing and everybody needed to get on that. It almost was like a Bitcoin thing, a madness, but it didn't actually pick up. But I know a lot of companies spent lots of money and people buying land. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah, I'm sure that's still happening actually. I don't think it's completely gone away.
I know. Do you know? I remember I read somewhere that Meta was actually asking the employees to go and actually interact in metaverse so they can increase the engagement on the platform, which I thought was quite sad. If it did happen, I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah.
One that's actually still pretty prevalent, and it kind of probably makes sense if you think about the amount of platforms out there now, is social sharing. So adding features into your product so you can kind of share content and actions with people as you do stuff. Again, can be good, can work really well. I mean, Spotify is a great example of where they've done this, and you know, at the end of the year it's quite good because it's kind of contextual and seasonal. So at the end of the year, showing you know, your kind of like top 10 or what your most listened records were, and you kind of share that. It's like quite a cool piece of engagement.
Are we talking about like a social sharing where you have like a button when you click and then you can share somewhere?
Yeah. Share something with it you've been doing within the product. Yeah.
I do remember this being overdone massively everywhere for no reason. Also, like all of our clients were asking to add this somewhere. I remember in some financial situation, like financial platforms, but I can't even recall, but it was some really, I think also with the Western show, I think you could, you know, create yourself as a character from some show. I don't know how many people actually were doing this. And then you could share it. Of course, like
That's
it was
cool.
Have you actually done that?
No. I was thinking,
which cat from Cats are you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, but I think some of those things are fun when it's
if it's appropriate.
Yeah, or you've been to something out, it's like an experience, so you kind of like want to share that. Like if you went to an event or gig or Glastonbury or something, I'm sure they must have stuff where you share that you've been, see gigs, you know.
But
like
not
Spotify.
So much like a financial app. You're not going to be like sharing stuff so much from your application that tell people how much money you have.
Yeah, exactly. No one's going to want to do that.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, so point is like we don't want to just jump on whatever trend and add that stuff in without thinking if it makes sense for us and our users.
Always contextually, does it make sense? What are you celebrating with this share? Is this something that your users are actually going to want to share? I mean, some people might not want their Spotify playlist being shared with others, but who knows?
Yes, I would probably embarrassed with my list, so I probably would not share. Yeah, maybe you would be like more eager to do that.
Yeah, I would.
But all right, another thing that I think has become at some point absolutely crazy. Again, I remember that creating for one of the clients, and they were adding. So it was an agency, and they were adding community as a package for every single client they were working with, for no reason.
Interesting. I feel like that's come full circle now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because I feel like people have got a bit tired with social media, and they there's a more awareness.
The main social media.
Yeah, more awareness of like what that actually entails, and your algorithms being hyped for engagement. So you maybe not necessarily seeing all of your friends' birthdays and stuff, so you're just being sold more and more stuff. So I see that like communities are actually being built quite successfully off. So
they're like more specialized communities.
Yeah, niche. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they're probably out, and I'm thinking maybe WhatsApp groups more than actually within the technology. Yeah, it's quite a challenge to actually create a community within a technology. I do remember that time. Actually, 10, 15 years ago in agency world, that would always be a go-to. Yes, let's create a community and a vibe and excitement around this particular launch. I'm thinking of a new Rolls-Royce launch. But it's like, yeah, cool. That is a tough, challenging.
I'm thinking, if I have a Rolls Royce, do I want to join a community?
Exactly. That is interesting. Yeah, how many Rolls Royce owners are going to be sitting on the phone?
But who knows? If it works for you, then go for it. But again, just be very careful with does it actually make sense? I mean, today Notion and Figma, they both have really good creative community where you both get some value and tips from other people, and also you can get free templates.
Yeah, that's true. That Figma has an amazing creator community.
Yeah, it's very good.
Resources, stuff that they've already done. That's really aligned with the product and kind of makes sense because it gets you started on things. If you're new or even experienced, you can kind of pick up components, libraries. Yeah,
it's like ready really products almost.
Yeah.
And but just adding community for no reason. I know, I spoke to one founder, and she said her application, I think it was like a parenting application, don't remember the details, but she said it wasn't doing really well, so she's adding the community to it. So that's kind of not maybe necessarily gonna add value. I don't know. It's just be quite careful what we do and why we're doing it and how much it's going to cost us.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Why are you doing it? I mean, if you add the community and then figure out what the real problem is that you're missing.
Yeah.
And then pivot your product from that would work.
I know a lot of people these days create free communities, right? And we actually have our own community coming up for founders and creators who want to optimize their sort of products, ask questions, and share stuff. But I think in general, I've seen and I've spoken to a couple of founders who actually their product is a community, free community, and then they're trying to move to paid community. So the same people that they had, let's say they have several thousands of people, and then they want to move them to paid community, and then it completely fails because from thousands of people you get 100. Mm-hmm. So that's a big challenge. And if it's your kind of main product, you also have to be sort of mindful, what is the value and what people actually would be willing to pay for. So there's a lot of questions around that, and it's not just straightforward, just add community to everything.